Good afternoon again. I'm Alicia Wilson, Vice President, Economic Development for Johns Hopkins University and Johns Hopkins Health System. And it is my pleasure to uh, introduce Entrepreneurship Matters this week, where we are featuring two amazing women who are at the top of the resale vintage consignment industry. Danielle Williams and Zakiya Shivers. I'm going to invite them on screen and we're going to launch into what I will tell you is going to be one of the most inspiring conversations that we've ever had. Let me set us up and then we're going to launch right into the conversation. We know that successful entrepreneurs, successful businesses are not built in a day. It takes a long-term commitment, multiple failures, a lot of grit to make it happen. And these two amazing women are no different. I'm going to give you their bios, which are extremely impressive. And then we're going to launch right into the conversation. And don't worry, we're doing a full hour with both of them. So you are not going to be shortchanged. And more importantly, you can shop with them for hours after this broadcast. So you're going to get plenty of time with them. So first, I want to introduce Danielle Williams. Most people call her Danny. She is a creative who enjoys the authenticity of fashion and art. Vintage style has always been her passion. It's like a second nature to her. From spending hours in many thrift stores, creating many unique looks for herself, to now owning her own vintage store, huge accomplishment, Illicit rag venture, a place where all of her fellow creatives come to find their own unique one-of-kind looks. Styling is an understatement. It is a full-blown experience to Danny. She has spent many years mastering the art of fashion and style by grabbing pieces from all over the world. Ever since she was a child, she's always shared an appreciation for quality clothing and signature garments. Now she has the opportunity to share her experience and her appreciation for quality clothing with the world. Each item is strategically selected for her customers. That's really a great thing. To enjoy rare and authentic pieces. Illicit Rag is also a place where other creatives can network and vibe out by partnering with others in the fashion and art industry. Her legacy in art and in fashion has really just begun. We're going to talk about that later. So stay tuned for what's bigger and better for illicit things to come. Welcome, Danny.
Yay.
And
Hello. How are you today?
good. And next, I want to present and introduce to some others to Zakiya Shivers, who is, we all know, is the owner of Tightfisted Fashion. She has experience in both government and private sector and has worked in the federal government for over 10 years while maintaining her secondhand fashion boutique, Tightfisted Fashion. Through Tightfisted Fashion, she endeavors to change the face of secondhand shopping and entrepreneurship. Tightfisted Fashion is a resale and consignment store that provides quality, expressive, vintage, and inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories for both men and women. It provides space for community engagement, small business development, collaboration, and Black and women business empowerment. Welcome, Zakiya, to this week's edition. So glad to have you. Beautiful. You're dressed so, both of
Hey,
you look so
Zakiya.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome. So I want to launch right into the conversation about what started you, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur? Where did you get started? So I'm gonna start with Danny and then I'm gonna go to Zakiya.
To become what inspired me to become an entrepreneur, this everything just happened kind of. It wasn't really like a plan. And then I think kind of as you get older and you tend to learn yourself, you just know certain things that you aren't really for and you know what you are for. And even when I was in the corporate world, it just didn't work for me. As an artist, it's kind of hard for me to be restrained or restricted to a certain, like, it just drives me nuts. So it was like, I feel like this was kind of like the only option for me in terms of when it comes down to success. I don't really know. I'm a challenger. I'm a bull, unfortunately. I'm a Taurus, so I'm going to challenge just about any and everything. And I also like to do things my own way. And most of the time, if you want to do that, you got to be your own boss. It just doesn't really work when you're going to work and telling the boss what to do. There aren't many bosses that are willing to let that happen. So I had to become my own boss.
No, I love it. And there are probably many people on saying, I want to drive. I want to drive. I know how I want to do this. So entrepreneurship is my way. I completely, I've heard it multiple times from many different entrepreneurs. How about you, Zakiya? What inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
I think my inspiration is probably a little bit different from Danny's. I work for the man. I'm not shy about that, and I make it known because you can have multiple streams of income and
Mm-hmm.
multiple interests and multiple things that you love to do. And really, what encouraged me was in college. I found a niche opportunity. I was a student athlete. So I had the opportunity to be on campus year round. So people would leave their stuff, with me. And that gave me an opportunity to, resell some of the things that they had. Also, eBay. Look, we predate Facebook. So we were we were there. We were one of the first schools on Facebook. And with that, there was still a lot of distrust for online shopping and
Mhm.
online activities. And I
Mm-hmm.
had a PayPal account, I had my eBay. I'm not gonna tell you about all the other sites that don't exist anymore, but I had those other sites available to me, and I was the one person, the one friend that was courageous enough to try these different online platforms. So for me, it was, I guess you would call it a hustle, but I found a niche, I found an opportunity, and that kind of led me into other types of entrepreneurship as well. So my challenge was, my interest in it was really because I felt like I could do it. I was perfectly positioned to do it. Um,
Mhm.
for this particular business, the vintage business, the reason for starting that was a little bit different. I got into vintage specifically because of maybe the lack of representation of
Mhm.
Black women, of young Black women in vintage. You didn't really see a lot of teenagers or younger people wearing or appreciating vintage clothing, and so I
You
wanted to.
you say something so important because I'm a vintage. I love vintage clothing. I feel like you get to wear one of a kind when you wear vintage, and so you're right. And most of the people who I've known who have been in vintage, they don't look like us. They that own the store. So for both of you, I'd love for you to talk about how you got started as business owners. So what steps did you go through? So you both, Danielle, you talked about in a pre-show, your mother gave you a certain amount of money and you realize I can stretch it much further if I go secondhand and that's your passion. And Zakiya, you can tell, you are, you're getting an opportunity in college to really people are leaving things and then you're like, well, we can resell them on the market. Someone else, your trash for someone else's treasure. So how did you actually start with the business? How did you, for those who are like, well, how did they turn this into a business? What steps did you go through to do that? I'll start with you, Zakiya.
Okay, so that's a good question, and I'm gonna try to keep it as simple as I can for the people who are thinking about starting. The very first thing that I did was commit to doing it. So I wrote what you would call a manifesto, a statement of interest or whatever. I needed to send it to someone, so I sent it to my mom. I sent it to my mommy because I knew that she would, receive it. But really, that was around 2010.
Mhm.
I had spent some time overseas. I lived in China for a couple years, of all places, Wuhan. That's a whole other story. But I started working, and before I actually started working, I didn't have any money, so I started selling things, going to different trade shows, expos, and things like that, and was just selling it as maybe a private person. I didn't really um, commit to it as a business until I really wrote that manifesto to say, this is what I want to do with my life. And the first sentence was, this is what I want to do with my life. I always loved vintage, and I always thought that this might be something that I would retire into. But again, I didn't really see a lot of young people in it. And, even though especially today, I'm giving off old fly auntie vibes, but when I was
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
younger,
It's a beautiful vibe. Beautiful.
when I was younger, I was still kind of giving off young fly cousin, sister vibes, but I didn't really see a lot of vintage representation that again catered to the Black aesthetic,
Yeah.
or it maybe wasn't appreciated in popular areas. So really writing that letter saying this is what I want to do, and this is what I want it to look like was the very first step. Everything else kind of came into place, but really the steps was committing to it, coming up with a name. I already pretty much knew my name and logo. It's me. I drew it. I had been into writing poetry and things like that, so it really just ran off Tightfisted fashion. It just, the alliteration was just there for me. So I knew that is what I wanted to call the business, and then just researching what I needed to do. So the very first thing I did was get the name established so that nobody can take it. Sign up online with the state, get it registered. Then I started doing other things to, protect or identify my brand using logos, coming up with creative things to show that I'm here. Again, using social media, email, all these different platforms to let people know that, hey, I'm a business, I'm legit. Created an email account so that I can establish a PayPal account in the business name or with the business entity. Created a website, so those were the very first steps. And those are things that people who are looking to start a business can do right away. You can get an
Yeah.
EIN number like overnight. You can
Yep.
register your business, get it and get it incorporated, set up a business structure, whatever it may be. You could do those things kind of on your own. Some of the advanced stuff we'll save for another segment, but get your name registered, get that website, you're a business.
I love how you said it. I boiled what you said down to 7 steps. So I'm going to give them back and then I'm going to ask Danielle the same, and I'm going to give hers. So first, you committed to doing it. I love the statement that you made a manifesto, and that you really set out the vision for what you were going to do and committed to that vision. Second, you talked about like really doing some market research. So you went to trade shows, you went to other businesses, see how they're doing it, see what's the industry like. The third thing, really important, you trademarked your name. You got your fourth thing, you got your logo secured. Fifth, you really harness the power of social media to really think about like how are you marketing, how are you using these tools. Six, your email account, again, continue to be consistent with your branding. And seven, your setup, like your infrastructure setup, your EIN, your registration, your business. All those things are great tips for those who are watching. How about you, Danielle? How did you go from I love vintage clothing, I'm doing it for my friends, I'm selling to my friends at this point, to starting the business? How did you, for those who are watching, saying, how did she do that? How did she build what she did? What were the business steps you went through?
Honestly, like I try to tell everybody, there's no specific way to go about doing it.
Sure.
Like I said, it never was in the plan for me, honestly. Everything literally sort of kind of just happened. Like it was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I might as well. Like this fell into my lap, because a lot of times we tend to take things that can be businesses and just kind of brush them off as a hobby or something that we like to do, which is a good thing, because of course, in terms of business, you would like to do something that you want to put yourself in a space so it doesn't feel like a job so much. So you should try to do something that you would do it for free if you had to. But once it gets to the point and it costs you money, you have to find a way to make money. So initially I was styling. So I wasn't actually into it for the selling of clothes. I was buying a lot of stuff because when I would go to jobs and things, these are vintage pieces, is what I would style the models and things in.
Mhm.
So after that, because I would get all different kinds of models in different shapes and sizes, then I accumulated so many clothes that it was like, okay, what am I going to do with this stuff? Or when I would take it to the set, or other people would see photos and things, they would ask me for these pieces. So from there is when I started the whole sale process. But I would accumulate so much stuff because, for one, I love to vintage shop anyway. So now I have an excuse to go buy more stuff. And then eBay came about, as Zakiya mentioned earlier. And then I started feeling like I was in touch with the world at that at that point. Around the same time, I was turning about 20 and I got a job. So that didn't make it any better because now I have access to more money for me to spend. So everything, like I said, it kind of just happened. But of course, it definitely was something that never left my side. But in about 2014, 13, 14, it's about 2013 is when, like, some of my friends, they more so pushed me to do this than me actually chasing it. Because, like I said, it was just something that I naturally just did. And I would help them out, and then they would come over, they would ask for outfits, they would see how much stuff that I have, and they would be like, why wouldn't you sell this? And then one day, one of my friends said, you're going to sell this. Like, she told me what I was going to do. And from that, of course, you know, we tend to like have a little self-doubt, especially when you have other streams of income. You just, at a certain, sometimes you just want to be comfortable. But she wouldn't let me be comfortable. And she literally looked me in my face and said, you have no reason to say no, because I know how to do everything. I'm a photographer. I know how to set up a website. I know how to do this. And from that, she believed in me, honestly. And once she set that up, then that's how that portion started, the financial aspect started rolling.
Well, thank God for good friends, because that's the moral of your story. Thank God for a friend that
it really
pushes,
is,
because that's the truth. Let me tell a couple of things. One, it's so interesting how you got into styling others, and you got into that part of the industry of styling others, which really helped you to then your friend. What's your friend's name? Give your friends a shout out.
Her name is CT the artist.
All right, CT the artist. Blessings to you, because that's a good friend to push your friend. You then harness the power of eBay, which is really important. We get receiving questions already, but that's a question people have had. How did you market? How have you built your brands? Great tip you just gave. Then your friend pushed. I always tell people, pick your friends, and I'm telling you how far you get to go, because they are gas in the tank. And then continue to reinvest. Excellent points. Let me tell everyone, I see so many of you already commenting, already giving your questions in, lifting these sisters up. But if you want to text your questions in, type 22333 and then type JHUWL in the message. So 22333, type JHUWL in the message. Also, you can put your questions in Zoom, and all of you who are watching on Facebook, good to see you again today. You can also put your questions in the chat, and I'll get all of them to Zakiya and Danny. Let me ask you this question, which just came in, which is about marketing, because both of you talked about that, getting the word out about who you are and the work that you do. So what marketing considerations, so someone asked this, what marketing considerations do you all make for your business now versus when you were starting out? Because the world has shifted, it's changed, it's all different. What are the changes? What marketing considerations are you making? So Zakiya, what do you do? How do you think about marketing?
So that's a great question, and that's something that is a struggle for me, again, because it's changed. My business, my interest kind of predated social media and kind of the need for social media, and I don't feel that the social media presence really matches my impact. It's the time when I go out and I say, hey, I'm Zakiya. People are like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I own Tightfisted Fashion. Oh, you're Tightfisted Fashion. Oh, I get your emails. So, there's lots of people that, know and touch, that I, support via email, going to different events, just being a social, hummingbird. I don't even think butterfly is really it, but really putting myself out there. And again, touching a lot of people one-on-one, stacks of business cards, email addresses, so they kind of guerrilla type of of marketing worked for me then. And it's not that it's not working now, but you do need you do need to prove yourself a little bit more, via social media than I think that you had to in the past. When social media was just coming up, everybody wasn't on it, everybody didn't have
Yeah.
access. The real litmus test was word of mouth, and people seeing you and believing you, and seeing your brand and your setup. But now it's how many followers do you have? How many platforms are you doing? Are you doing TikToks? Are you dancing enough? Are you doing these videos? And that's not for me. So I don't do that. I do love to do videos, and I would like to do a little bit more, but more tutorials, pamphlets, webinars, things like that, more so than kind of the quick Instagram thing. I want to have a deeper connection. It goes way deeper than the outfit that I'm wearing right now today. I want
Yeah.
to talk about the legacy and the story. So most of my marketing, I would say, really stems from my event planning and the people that I've touched at different events, either vending at other people's events or hosting my own.
Very good point. And I love how honest you were about the struggles
Those are real.
of marketing when it's not your bent to do, like, be on there every 5 minutes showing a garment. Whereas other people, that is what they're doing, and they might not even be selling anything. So I love how, because there's probably someone watching in the same predicament as you, thinking about that, and actually have an idea for you. So I'm gonna give it to you on the show before we go. I have somebody that I think you should connect with. I'm a connector, so I'm gonna mention them. Danielle, how about you? What marketing considerations have you made now versus then? Folks want to know.
Well, honestly, I totally agree with Zakiya because I'm horrible with social media. I mean, of course, when I was younger, when I was into my personal life, it was cool. But so I have not still fully grasped that whole thing. Actually, in the recent months, I've passed that on to someone else. I've given someone else that responsibility. Of back then, when I was a little bit younger, when I first started out in terms of the brand, yes, I started out vending at events. That was pretty much how I built a lot of clientele. And I personally, I feel like your work should speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you invest in your work, most of the time, especially being as though you're selling your work to other people, that's your best market. So if you are good to your customers, then usually your customer base tends to grow because they'll spread the word, because a lot of people don't give their customers an experience. They treat them like a customer.
Right.
And I feel like that's where, a lot of people's issues lie, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because when you start treating them like a customer, they start acting like a customer. You know what I mean? Like the customer's always right. I need this, I need that. But when you personalize the experience, it's more like they like to see that you are a real person.
Yeah,
Um,
no, absolutely. I mean, I think people love the connection to the entrepreneur, and so I think that's why people watch every week. And I think that's why they want to come back and see you all, because they really do want some connection, right? You can go
yes,
buy it anywhere, but
because nothing's
knowing who I'm
personal.
buying, yeah, who I'm buying it from, exactly. And so we had a comment, Cam. Oh, Cam, I didn't introduce Cam today. Cam actually is one of the brainchilds of this Entrepreneurship Matters. She's an entrepreneur herself, young person, but she also talks like it's a struggle for her too, this social media thing, and she's a youth. So I mean, you all are in good company. The one thing I was going to say, I have a friend named Carmen Green. You should follow her on Instagram, Facebook, but she does Saturdays, SEW Saturdays. And so she does love social media, but she takes an hour and teaches people about it. And it's like more of a tutorial. And I think that's the way she's overcoming sort of not being able to post every 5 minutes, because you just don't
Mm-hmm.
have the chance. People do tune in for that. So one question that folks are asking a number of times, it's come out a couple of different times in the questions from Facebook, is how do you manage your time, your energy, your boundaries as an entrepreneur? Because it seems like it could become all consuming, right? That you live where you work and you work where you live, and it is your life. So Zakiya, how do you set those boundaries protect your energy, set boundaries? How do you
Well,
do
okay,
that?
well, you see, I got my amethyst on, so boom, that's first step. But
Yeah.
really, if people that know me know, okay, my name might begin with a Z, but I'm really type A. So I done planned out my year, my life. I am a supreme tech. I just got a new journal this weekend. I didn't need one, but it was so nice. I love it. It had pockets. It's the little things like that. It's just get me so fulfilled. But that is
Yes.
what I do. I plan stuff out in advance. I've kind of always been like that, but I realized the value in it, and I realized that I was like that and really, lean into that part of me. I can be spontaneous about stuff, but I am decidedly spontaneous, if that makes sense. So I really plan everything. I plan to take off work so that I could do this webinar. Excuse me, I need to take leave for this time because work-life balance, I can use my leave for what I want to use it for. And this
Yeah.
is important to me. I would rather not get fired for dipping in the pot than just be upfront and honest with it.
Yeah.
Signing whatever documentation I need to sign, so that I can live my multiple lives. And that's really the key for me is looking ahead at things that I want to do, but also not to go too deep, but really the framework has been set for us. I know pretty much what I want to do next year because I've probably done it last year. I know what events I want to attend. I know how much I need to save up to go to Essence Festival. I know how much it's going to cost me each month to vend at different events. I know what my rent is going to be. So looking at that helps me create my future, and that's exactly what we do with vintage. That's exactly what we do with our clothing. We take the old clothes that we have that set the framework and the template for what we want to do with the future. And probably Danny's probably doing the same thing. She already know what trend she going to set up for 2022.
Zakiya, I promise I don't. I'm like, I need to hire her so she can help me keep my life
Look at
together.
this.
That's what's crossing my mind.
Kind of how things go from year to year. There's always a wrench in it. COVID was everybody's wrench, but kind of generally what events you would want to do or kind of want to do, and that helps me. It helps me save money, stress, time, energy, all of that.
I love how you said that, and I think that's such a guiding principle. Don't worry, Danielle. We're gonna make sure the kid come in your life and you come in hers. But I love how you said you set out the year. You budget out your time, what you're going to spend it on, and I'm sure there are things that come up, but the setting out of the time and what you're spending resources on, like a budget, which that's true. You only get a certain amount. You can conceivably get limited amount of money, but time, you have a real budgeted time. So I love how you just talked about that. And I know that was so helpful for so many. It's helpful for me. I know Danielle's nodding her head. Danielle, how do you do it? How do you set your boundaries, your time, your energy? How do you do that as an entrepreneur?
Honestly, I just got into that more recently. I would honestly say that COVID probably had a lot to do with that. Because in terms of me launching the business, it was something that was like random. There I go again, right? Something I do, not that organized. Key, I need your help, please. Yeah, but the business itself was something that it just dropped in my lap, and it was just an opportunity that I randomly jumped on. I didn't plan for this either, but I knew I wasn't going to allow myself to fail. In terms of working in business, you have to, if you're going to be a boss, you have to be your own boss as well. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people, they tend to, lose track of. So I honestly roll with the punches. I'm definitely a roll with the punches kind of young lady. Listen, all I can keep saying is, Zakiya, I need your help. That's really in the side of my mind. Like, but I work. Go ahead.
No, somebody is needing that because they are roll with the punches.
That's right. That's right.
I am, and I work
this business.
I work better under pressure because I think that when I make plans for something and it does not go that way, that's more so what kind of frustrates me. But what brings me peace and whatever it is that's going on is the fact that I took the time to learn myself some years ago. like, because no, but that's just even in your daily life thing. So things like that bring me peace. And so it doesn't bother me. You have to understand that just in terms of business, I had already knew that for the first 5 years, I was going to have to sacrifice that time. And I'm reaching my 5-year mark, which is now, since things are pretty organized in terms of the business, like I have a system and things running. So now I've actually gotten to the point where I'm trying to schedule things, but that's because I've also reached a point of understanding that I can't do everything for myself. So now I've started learning how to ask for help. Initially, I didn't understand that when I was a little bit younger. So that kind of has also helped me with beginning to organize and separate my personal life from my business life. Because honestly, all of it was jammed into one. And then my customers come in, then they end up being my friends. So now it's like, it's just a whole big love ball. But yeah, so now recently I'm actually getting into that. So I can't really tell you exactly how it's going to work yet.
I love it because you both are talking about the journey of entrepreneurship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that you started out doing that you aren't doing anymore. And there are things that you wish you had done at the beginning that you're now doing and implementing, and you learn that lesson. So I think that's also so helpful for so many who are thinking of like, what's the arc of their journey? And someone just said, they've started asking for help. So that's a lesson many times all of us as professionals and as women, really, we do so much on our own. Great nuggets that you're putting out. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to get this in before I want to confirm Oprah's watching today so we can make sure we get a question in for Oprah. Yeah, we're going to get that in. Despite the challenges of being a business owner, what keeps you going? So what is the thing that says you like, I don't, with the twists and turns of being an entrepreneur, what helps you with being resilient and continuing to push through? Zakiya, what's that thing for you?
Yeah, and that's a great question. The thing that motivated me in the beginning of my business is not the same thing, and really understanding that and realizing that that it's okay to shift. It's okay to grow and make changes in your business and still be your your business. Like I said earlier, I really started the business because of the lack of representation. And I felt like, okay, if I put this business out as a young Black owned vintage business, that I will start attracting those pieces. I will start getting those vintage clothes that I want. So it was a little selfish, but I was still doing it for the culture. But that's not the case now. You got Danny, you got Keepers, A Day in June, and that's just in a couple blocks of each other. You know what I mean? So there's international that there's a Black business presence. I went to Ghana and South Africa, and there are Black vintage stores, and I loved it. So my motivation now is really to tap into that global connection, to really tap into that global consciousness about sustainability, and especially what we can do in the Black community to continue that. We've all been in a position, I won't say all, but a lot of us have had our cousins hand me downs and shop with the Goodwill with our heads held down as youth, like it was some kind of negative thing, like it was a stigma. And now people are making songs and millions of dollars about shopping at the Goodwill and flipping what they found in the Goodwill and making a huge profit. So I am motivated by that change. I'm motivated by that level of change. Like, okay, we're going to flip the script. We're going to change the game. We're going to take vintage, especially Black vintage, to the next level.
I love it. I love that energy, because you are so right. All of us have had the hand-me-downs in the family from across the street, all those things. And it is so cool to do secondhand. It is so cool to do vintage. And I don't think that's going away, especially for those of us who the quality. And so you're right. There's a momentum. I love it. What keeps you going? How about you, Danielle? What keeps you going as despite the challenges of being an entrepreneur?
What keeps me going is pretty much the experience that I have with the pieces. Because like I said, of course, it's something I would do if I had to do it for free. But when I get customers or people that I give pieces to that I've searched and traveled all over for, and the joy that comes, on their faces, or when they see me and the first thing that they tell me about is the experience that they had in the garment, or the way that they wore the garment, or whatever. Like things like that, it excites me and it makes me want to go do more work so I can touch more people. Because I love a lot of people, they don't really, to me personally, people, I try to get people to understand that fashion is actually extremely personal. It's about personal expression. So for me to provide individuals with, especially in today's time where people will wear the same thing that 1,000 other people, they desire to wear the same thing that 1,000 other people have on. So for me to give you something, for one, that has been through its own trials and tribulations itself, and for it to bring joy and light and excitement and, provide you with a feeling of originality. Like it's just yours. Like I'm like the confidence of knowing that I'm the only one that probably has this. When people come to me and they give me the highlights of the experience that they have with these garments, it just makes me want to go get more. Like it just makes me want to do it all over again.
A reason to shop more.
Yeah,
I agree with
absolutely.
you. I mean, everyone has that dress they remember when something happened. Or
Absolutely.
that piece of garment. And you're so right about that. And so that's a beautiful, beautiful statement. Let me ask you this for both of you. You are, in my view, and in many other view, just leaders in industry. And that's really how you both are on this program today. I mean, people just know of you, highly respect you. You are, you are inspiring so many people. So what has been your greatest personal achievement thus far? We know what we admire you for and what we get to see, but what's the achievement you're most proud of as an entrepreneur at this point? And let me say this, your best days are to come. So this is not the high point, but I'm just saying, what is your achievement that you're most proud of? Zakiya, tell us yours.
So I would say probably hands down was going overseas, like as my business, going overseas and doing, pop-ups overseas, especially doing pop-ups in Ghana and South Africa. That was what I wanted. Like I knew it was there, the community is there, but like to really see it and be a part of it and like shop with it and like really look at people that look like your cousins, like that was very, very fulfilling. And that was really what I needed. And then of course, continuing those relationships with them, doing business with them, exchanging merchandise, contacts, things like that. That was probably the highlight for the business, because that really, like I said, kind of um let me know that there was a community out there larger than the one that I have, and there were a lot of us, and they were all beautiful and amazing. But yeah, that was definitely the highlight for my business, is really being able to take my business overseas and see my pieces received really well. It was funny because the exchange rates are different there, so I went there and
Yes.
expecting the pieces to be so much more. So I did have to adjust it based on the environment that I was in.
Sure.
And people were just like eating it up. They were just like, oh my gosh, we can't get this here. And, and I'm just like, yes, I will trade you this, jacket for that, like kente cloth. And that was super, super rewarding.
Oh, so wow.
And then being able to integrate that back into the business. As you can see, I got my Kente crown. That was really, because that was really what I needed for my business to surge, to continue going in the direction of pouring in other Black and diasporan fashion pieces and signatures, and that was really what I.
That is so amazing that you take from Baltimore to Ghana to South Africa. And you're right, just like a global appeal and a global value of what you're doing. Phenomenal, so inspiring. How about you, Danielle? What's been your greatest achievement thus far?
First, I would like to commend Zakiya. That's awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome. I hope that I can make it there one day. Of course, since I didn't physically start off with a physical storefront right now, and this is where I invest most of my time, I'm going to say that my physical store is my greatest achievement at this point.
Huge. It's so good.
I have tons of other ideas and things that I, intend to do, but for the last 5 years, this is actually where I've been pouring my heart and soul into, and I've gotten a lot of things out of this experience and everything. But yeah, because it's actually brought so much joy and other things, other recognition from other people. I got the Best of Baltimore magazine, I think 2020. I got the best vintage store for that. I've been highlighted in tons of magazines and podcasts and the Baltimore Sun. It's tons of stuff that actually has just been coming. But for the most part, right now, I'm going to say it's this, because this is actually something where so I can actually title it as, okay, it actually is complete. You understand what I'm saying? Like of course, I have things as an artist, as a creative, I have this here, this there, but they are unfinished projects. So I wouldn't even highlight those things. But right now, it's definitely going to be my business.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. Both of you just so inspiring what you're doing. And we do have Oprah on, so she is watching now. So we're thankful for that. Let me ask you a question for her, which is, what can those of us who are, what can people who can be investors? What are those who can be purchasers? What can we do to ensure that Illicit and Tightfisted fashion, that you continue to thrive, and that we have more of your businesses in our community? What should we be doing at whatever level of contribution we can make to ensure that we have a multiplication of great businesses like yours in our community? So Zakiya, what's your word for Oprah? What's your word for all of us who are on here at the many different contribution levels?
Well, thank you for that question, because a lot of people, don't have Oprah money. A lot of people just have the ability to click.
Some people have Alicia money.
It starts with a click. It starts with a share. If that's what you can do,
That's
click
right.
or share
Beautiful.
could become a share. Okay.
Yeah.
Start with a small investment, buy something small from the business. Really, if you're looking to invest, a lot of times it's all about the numbers, but really what a lot of businesses need, especially small businesses, and I don't want to speak for Danny, but I know in my situation, I would have loved the mentorship, of someone saying, you know what, there is a template for this type of business. There is a mentor that is in this industry that we can help you set up with, so that you can get to that level. Just like we do with our clothing. Sometimes the clothes come in and they are missing a button, right? And we sew that button on, or it needs a zipper fix. It's not a bad piece. You don't throw it away. What you do is you repair it, you get it to the place where it can be sold. And that's really where a lot of businesses are, especially small businesses, where we just need an extra little shiny button, or maybe we need a zipper, we just need to be cleaned up a little bit so that we can get to the Oprah money. But really having that mentorship early on. And we do, reach out to different folks for mentorship. We use the resources that are available to us. I use SCORE. It's a small business resource center. I've applied for different development programs.
Uh-oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. Don't stop, Dr. Jim. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
So,
yes.
I use different resources. I've used the resources that are available to me, but to get to that next level, it really does take, that mentorship, that guidance, a little bit of that hand holding. I think that sink or swim model has only worked for a certain segment of folks. Some people do need a little bit more support. And like, Danny, explained earlier, we both do that with our storefronts. We give people space and opportunity to grow, and we provide mentorship for them to get to that level. But once you get, once you are well known around the city, how do you get well known around the region? You know, how do you get to that next level without those mentors and people who reach that level pouring back into you? So that would be the main thing that I would ask, you know, pour in, just not just the money, but maybe the money that it takes to get to that, so that your numbers can start looking good and looking appealing to those investors.
I love how you just talked about mentorship. I'm gonna get to that. Danielle, how about you? What would you say are really critical things that you could be happening with investors at all the different levels?
At all different levels, I feel like that support, but not support even in terms of the business aspect. Just a lot of times it takes the support, like just the push for someone to follow their dream. As I told you earlier, people saw what I did and they pushed me to go even further with that, when a lot of times nowadays and before, it's a little bit more accepted these days. But back then, everything that we did and we perfected that wasn't like having to do with corporate America or something like that, it was more looked at as a hobby, opposed to something that can be a business, because we weren't really taught about finances. We weren't really taught about any of that stuff. So, but I think that it kind of also came from our parents. They weren't really taught about that stuff either. So I kind of understand where it comes from, but that stuff is very, very important, because you hear me personally, I can sit here and I can say that I'm 37 now, and this is something that I've been doing since I was in high school. So it's literally something I was doing since I was in high school. It kind of just naturally just comes to me. It's nothing that I've ever studied in terms of fashion or anything. And I expressed that to many people, even, you know, family members, just people around me. And it wasn't really like, oh, hey, go ahead and do it. It was more like we're pointed more to go work for someone. You know what I mean? So we often need that support. Like sometimes that's just that's how we mentally get ourselves together. You know what I mean? Whatever the craft is that we choose to do. But a lot of times, a lot of, you know, investors, they don't understand that we need that. Sometimes they'll just look at it like, oh, hey, send them to therapy. Sometimes this is some of our therapy. You believe it or not, like you have to listen to each individual person and see what you have to develop a plan that is conducive to their personal growth. It's not for everybody's plan is not going to work for everybody. So you need to customize that system. So of course you can give us $1,000 million, but if what I need help with is trying to learn the financial aspect of something, or if that person needs help with just trying to perfect their craft, like that's very important. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why I'm gonna make sure both of you know how to apply to the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, because I think both of you would be ideal for that program, as you just talked about the mentorship, the support, the understanding. You're right. There are certain conversations had at other dinner tables that weren't had at ours. And so we're not mad about that, but really wanting to change that, shift that. So I'm definitely going to make sure both of you get information on that and understand how to apply to that. Let me ask you this as we almost wrap up, because I want to see some of your fashion. So I'm going to go to Zakiya first, and then Danielle. Everybody, she's going to get us a couple pieces, so we just see a sampling. But you need to see the real sample in person. So everybody go to the stores. But let me ask you this: what piece of advice would you give to those who are starting out? I see a number of young people, a number of entrepreneurs that are at different levels watching today. What's your piece of advice for them, or a word or two that you would give to them as they're thinking about their businesses? Zakiya, what do you say to them?
Honestly, you know, and I've been asked this before, and it has changed at different times, just how I'm feeling. But I would say the main thing is start. And I know it is, you know, it's so trite, you know, and I hate to even say it, but the reason why I say it is this. You start your business today. Let's say it isn't fully formed for another 5 years, but you have 5 years of experience in your business. Okay. That name is 5 years strong. You have put in the work and, had that available for the last 5 years. Even if you don't have to do everything about your business or for your business, but you have to start with something. So even if you just start using your business name or put your logo on a photo, just start a piece of your business. You can always grow. You don't have to come out of the books with the store and everything, but start some place, some small piece of it. It could be, like I said, the 7 kind of steps that I had. It might be longer, there might be more steps than that, but start with that statement to yourself, or start with the website. Like Danny said, it doesn't have to be in a particular order, but you have to start something. If you keep staying in the idea phase and never really acting on anything, you will think yourself into a stupor, and you won't move forward. Start with the things that you can do. If you can sing a little something on the gram. If you like to do massages, call me, because my back is killing me. But start doing something, and start doing something under that business name, or under that business identity, today. If you write greeting cards, write a greeting card, send it to everybody on this call right now. Hey, I did this greeting card. It's not finished yet. Let me know what you think about it. I'm selling drafts for $5. When I finalize it, there'll be 10. When I put gold on it, it'll be 15. Whatever the case may be. Start something that you can do for your business today.
I love it. I love it. Get started and start under that name. Beautiful recommendation. Danielle, what would you say to everyone?
For the most part, I'm piggybacking on Zakiya. Of course, my same advice would be to just do it. Even if it's something that you've never heard before or seen before. Stop looking for the approval of others. Most of the time, if you've not seen that somebody done it before, then it's probably going to be a little bit more, if it succeeds, it's going to be a little bit more better because you're actually the first person to do it. Like a lot of times people, like now, it seems like a lot of people are just waiting for the approval of someone else. Because how many times have us ourselves even seen something or invention come into play? And it's like, I thought about that. Why didn't I do that? You understand what I'm saying? You have to start somewhere, and why not start with yourself? And even if whether the business fails or succeeds, at least you know that you tried it. But if you really have enough faith in yourself, you will not allow yourself to fail. You just won't. Like that, your survival mode will just kick in, and that's just how it works.
Love it. Love it. I agree. Get started. Don't let somebody else steal your great idea. I feel like Uber stole my idea. I'm telling you, they did, and I could have been a billionaire. I could have been a billionaire. I knew hacking was global. I knew hacking was global, but I didn't do it. So let me ask you this: let's get your website, locations. How can people get to you before I let them see some of your fashion? So Zakiya, how can people get in contact with you?
All right. So our website, www.tightfistedfashion.com. That's our main website. We're, main hub of information. We're actually doing some updates to our website now. So, trying to refresh it, but www.tightfistedfashion.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Tightfisted Fashion. So if you just type in Tightfisted Fashion, you'll find us there. Our physical store, we're located in Baltimore, been there for like 10 years now, is at 2114 North Charles Street. So we're right up the marble steps and to your left. And we actually just did a brand refresh. So Tightfisted Fashion is collaborating with Baltimore Mercantile. And we just love it. As you can see, I have a thing for purple, but now we're trying to make the store as blickety black as possible to really, like I said, represent where we are right now with the business. So we're talking Ankara walls, it's chocolate paint, we're doing, doing something different. So check us out. We'll be there Thursday through Saturday, 12 to 7. So, and also on social media, we also share different events and pop-ups that we'll be going to. So you might catch us at somebody else's event. I might be at your event.
That's right.
Never know.
December 18th, we're gonna let you know. Definitely. How about Danielle? How can we get in contact with you?
Well, you can catch us, Illicit Rag Vintage, on all social media platforms under Illicit Rag Vintage. That's ILLICITRAG Vintage. And also via email, you can reach us, illicitRagVintage@gmail.com. You can also, of course, come see us physically at 5702 Bologna Avenue, and that's located in Baltimore, Maryland.
Excellent, excellent. Let's visit both of these amazing businesses. So show us a couple of your pieces. Zakiya, I know you're going to, oh, look at that beautiful, beautiful top. We only got a part of it. Okay, show us a couple of pieces.
With my vintage hat, because it's, it's that time of year, it's getting a little chilly, right? We want to throw on a nice, nice warm coat. So
I love it. Beautiful.
I love this coat because it has the removable fur, I am not a vegetarian or vegan. I play one on TV occasionally, but I'm not really. So this is faux fur. But this is a great piece to go with anything, how you will style it. Again, it goes with anything. You can wear this one. This is more fitted. You can wear it as a jacket. So if you have your little black dress, you can throw this on top. If you're wearing, a cute skirt set or denim jeans and a cute little, graphic tee, you can throw this leather jacket on. This one's a little bit, longer, covers the bootay because it's winter time and it's cold. So that's one of my favorite staples for the winter. Another piece that I really love, I'm not going to be able to try it on because it isn't my size, but do you see this? What, did you hear her gasp? So
I did gasp.
Are the sequins, okay?
So
God,
beautiful.
Right? This is what you wear for the holidays, throw that on over some jeans, some cut up jeans, and you hear it, boom, it sounds like sleigh bells ringing.
So cute.
And people are, afraid sometimes to wear sequins during the daytime or casually, but wear these casually. Cut up jeans.
I wear sequin pajamas. I like that sequin. That's a good thing. It's beautiful.
But I love it because I love all the detail. It's got the black, it's got the silver. It even has
so
like
pretty
beads. So yeah, so that is definitely a good holiday look. And the last one I'll show, because I know we're pressed with time. Velour. I love velour. Everybody knows I love Coming to America. So he's like, what is that, velvet? Okay, I love it. It's a great winter piece because velvet is very forgiving because of the way that it just hits, the light, and it just, it does, have a little tightness to it. So it'll cover that stomach, like me, but also it will accentuate your curve. So velvet, velour, great pieces. You can wear velour pantsuits, velour tops, again, pair it casually with jeans, dress it up with some nice heels or a tall boot, or, something like this. Since this is a little too plain for me. I don't do all black.
But you can accentuate it.
I would definitely put like a peplum belt on it. Shout out to Regal Clothes. They make the peplum belt. I would put a tutu over top. Shout out to, my sister Antoinella. She does the tutus. Like, I would put a little pop on it, put a nice little gold belt on it. I would even make an Ankara, maxi skirt, put it right over top and wear the dress as a top. So, you can get a lot of life out of these. So those are probably my top 3, go-to pieces for the winter. So I'm gonna turn it over to Danny because I know we're running short on time.
No, okay. I love it. I love it. Danny, show us some of your pieces. Beautiful pieces. You have people coming to you. Give that address again.
Look at Danny. Danny did a whole lap.
I know.
I know. I can't see because the sofa's right here. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good. We can still see you. We're good.
But we can hear you fine too. Yeah.
Okay. But of course, I specialize in men and women's clothing and accessories. So I have tons of jewelry, all different kinds of stuff. But I'll just show you guys a few pieces because there's a lot of stuff going on in here. This is one of my favorite bags right now. Of course, it's gold and silver leather vintage bag. It's so cool. Like you can unzip it and everything. It's tons of fun. I like very versatile pieces as well. I'm definitely known for that. This right here is a 2-piece. It is.
Oh, I love that jacket.
It's a jacket, but it also has a pleated skirt to go with it as well. I thought that was super cute. It's super 80s.
Just shutting it down. That's so cute.
Thank you. This right here. And like I said, my style is all over the place. I'm a stylist, so I have like a little knack for everything. Like whether it be dressy, dress down, whatever. This right here is a nice reversible coat. It's actually a faux fur on one side, and then it's like satin, and then it's layered detailing.
No, it's so pretty
on the other side. So I thought that was really, really cool.
That is cool.
And also, I have this jacket. This is one of my favorite pieces right now. It's sweet. It's a Tamara Marie. She's a LA designer, but it's sweet and it's super, super cool. Very versatile for you can dress it up.
It's so
have
nice.
Tons of fun with it.
All right, everybody, you don't have to be like me, envying through the Zoom or on Facebook. You can go to these shops. They gave us their addresses. This is gonna be fun. We are going to. I want to. Maybe the next Saturday we'll come by and see both of you, so we can see how you're doing and put up some of the up close and personal the things that you have on. Let me close us out. Let me first say thank you, Zakiya. Thank you, Danny. This has been an absolute pleasure for us to feature you on Entrepreneurship Matters today. You are doing powerful work, and we just wish you so many blessings, continued blessings for both of you. And we will be supporting you and coming by and purchasing from you. And we encourage everyone else to do that. We know we had Small Business Saturday. That doesn't have to be Small Business Saturday. It should be Small Business every day.
Yes,
making sure we're supporting these great businesses in our community. But thank you both. We're going to come back next week, everyone, to hear from 2 entrepreneurs in the sweet industries, Angela Newman of Sweet Fortunes Unlimited and Kelly Simmons of Aunt Kelly's Cookies. Follow us on JH Connects on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Email feedback, jhconnects@jhu.edu. I want to thank all of our partners, Johns Hopkins University, Johns Hopkins Health System, Hopkins Local, the Mayor's Office of Small Minority Women-Owned Business, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business, and Bloomberg Philanthropies. Thank you, Zakiya. Thank you, Danielle, so much. Thank you.
Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for having me.
Everyone.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for supporting us. And I'll holler at you later.